Tell us about your children. Do you have a message you'd like to give each one of them?
Well, let's see. I have three daughters. The first one is Samantha, and the second one is Catherine, and the third one is Adrian. And
Okay.
I love them very much, and I hope the best for them because, well, they're good girls and they have good children. I've enjoyed raising them. I think they're beautiful girls, and I want them to succeed in everything that they do because they've gone out. They're on the right foot, doing things right, and looking at their education, and also they're leading by example because they're teaching their kids the essence of education. And as I've spoken to you before, to me, education is everything.
That's great. And your grandchildren? You have anything special you want to say to them?
My oldest grandson is Christian. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. He's my fourth grandson. I'm sorry. The oldest grandson is Justin, and he's doing real well. He's going to school, college, and Justin is married, has two children, and then the next child is
Do you have a message for Justin?
um, just to continue with what he's doing now because for a while he wasn't doing much, but now I can see where he's changing his life. And the other person is Nathan. Nathan is doing real well. He's going to get married in September, and he graduated from Colorado University, and then he got his master's at Washington University in St. Louis, and did some work at Yale, and but he's doing real well, and his wife to be is a very sweet young lady. Her name is Justine, and they're both into education. The other grandchild is my granddaughter Veronica, and Veronica is she's not a beautician, but she works anesthetologist, I guess it's called, and she does really well, and she's going to go into business pretty soon herself.
How do you feel about them?
Oh, I just love them.
What feeling have they brought you in your life, your
A lot of
grandchildren?
joy.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And what about your great grandchildren?
Well, the great grandchildren, there's two boys, Isaiah and it's hard. Uh, Isaiah is the oldest one, and the second one is Elias. And I haven't seen him for a long time since they live in Colorado.
Okay. And anything special you want to say to them?
I just hope that they grow to be strong and educated, that they take advantage of what's available to them in this country because they can achieve a lot, and that's what I hope for them.
Great. And your family of origin. You said you wanted to talk about your dad.
My father, my father was a big influence on me, and he since we were kids, my mother's Catholic, and my father was not, he's non-denominational, and so he and I were talking when I was about 13 years old, 14 years old, and he said, I asked him, how come you're not a Catholic? He said, well, I'm from. He said, we're Sephardic Jews. And nobody knows what that is. And I said, what do you mean? What do you mean we're Sephardic Jews? And then he told me, and then he said, well, that's why we have a lot of aunts and uncles that live in this part of town, because most of the people there are Jewish, and there are a lot of Spanish Jews. And so we, so I started realizing that my family was always talking about education, always talking about, working, and always talking about understanding other people, be charitable, help other people. Because my dad was always that way. He's always willing to help somebody else. And I think the reason why I get emotional about it because my dad was kind of like I guess a family that didn't care for him that much. Although my uncles on my mother's side did care for him a lot, and always stuck up for him. And they they realized that he had a pretty good head on his shoulders, because all he talked about was having us kids go to school, do real well for each other, and also to help other people. So that kind of stayed with me. And my grandmother, my great grandmother, but on my mother's side, was the same way. She wanted us to go to further our education, to go into college, and to do real well. So as a result, we had uncles that were lawyers and teachers and whatnot, and they all did real well. But she had a thing that she always wanted us to do, and that was to go to somebody. Let's say that my aunt here in Cupertino, she said, go to live with your aunt, and she has to have you live with her. And you go to school there in Cupertino, you have to have at least a B. If you have a B, you can continue going to school, and you don't have to pay for anything. They'll pay for everything. And my Aunt Virginia did that. She gave me a card for gas, and I got to go to school, and I didn't have to worry about anything else. I just had to worry about getting an education, which I did, and I stayed with it. And it's a tradition where a lot of my uncles have gone to live with other relatives, and in the same situation, they went and they learned that this is a responsibility that we have to carry. It's a tradition that we have to carry, and we do that. I did the same thing for my grandson.
That's great. So the other thing that we talked about were nature and animals. What does nature and animals mean to you?
When I was a kid, we had a little farm, and I was raised as a farmer, basically. And we always had chickens, we always had cows and sheep and stuff like that. And so I've always been very interested in close to, even now I have chickens at my house, because I have a large yard, of course, and then dogs. So I've always been drawn to animals. That's why I like to watch a lot of the animal programs. And I like it because I like the how humans can relate to animals, and we are like animals, and everything that we do is a reflection of what we learn from animals. We do learn a lot from animals, and it's interesting how animals study us, and we don't realize that they know us more than we know them. And so I just love that, the whole idea of looking at them and admiring them for what they contribute to our society, because they are part of our society. And that's my feeling about animals. Of course, I can go into a lot more, but I tell you, I love animals. And
so anything you want to say about nature too? Science and nature, you talked about.
I'm into science only because from the engineering standpoint. And I like to design things. I like to work with, I like to study. In fact, right now I'm watching Genius with the story of Einstein. Yeah. And so I can get into science, but I just don't know what
Well,
aspect.
It's great because you love it.
I love it. I love
So
it very much.
Is there anything else that you want to say quickly that we didn't cover?
I guess it's interesting to go through something like this, because you start to think of the things that really that are a part of you, and you can't capture all that in a few minutes. And there's a lot more that I would like to say, but I don't think I don't have enough time. But if I could do it again, I would do it again.
Great.
And
Well,
so,
thank you.
Well, no, thank you. Thank you very much.